Hi everyone, CraftyLori here, and I'm here to give you creative inspiration. And for today's video, I have partnered with my new friend Echo, and she is from the Mad Mommy blog. The recipe we are bringing to you today is called Not Your Mom's Old-Fashioned Donuts. And the reason they are called Not Your Mom's is because they are made with almond milk. We all know how good almond milk is for you. In my video, I'm going to show you how to make these Not Your Mom's Old-Fashioned Donuts, but for the recipe, you need to head over to the Mad Mommy blog, and a link will be down below in the description, or you can just put the Mad Mommy blog in your Google machine and it will take you there. So go ahead and go over. I have my KitchenAid mixer set up and I'm adding some butter, and then to the butter I am going to add some granulated sugar, and I'm just dumping that right in, and I have my whisk attachment on my mixer, and I'm gonna mix that up until it's all creamed together. And these are the donuts my mom used to make when I was growing up on the dairy farm. She'd make these all the time, and they are a heavy, dense donut, and they are good for dunking in tea and coffee, and that's exactly what we used to do. Mom would make these donuts, and then we'd run downstairs and sit at the table with our tea and start dunking some donuts. And there I added some eggs. And now it's time for the dry ingredients, and I have those in a separate bowl, and I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients together, and I'm just going to use a whisk, and I'm just going to make sure that's well incorporated. And then once I get that all incorporated, I take it back over to my mixer, and there I'm just scraping the whisk attachment, and I'm going to add the paddle attachment because I don't need to cream anything together anymore. I just need to mix the dry ingredients with the wet ingredients. So I add a little bit of the dry ingredients and I mix it up. And then there's the almond milk. This is just from Aldi's, and it's original almond milk. And this, makes a great, I guess, healthier donuts, if you can call donuts healthy. And I add a little bit of the milk, and then I add a little bit of the flour as it's mixing. And I just alternate back and forth because it's hard to mix it really well if you dump it in all at once. And then I scrape the sides every once in a while just to make sure it's getting well incorporated. And then once I get it mixed the way I want it, I'm going to scrape the sides here and see how doughy this is. That is the way it is supposed to be. It's kind of like a dough batter and not just a big ball of dough, but it's not super runny either. So I'm going to grab some saran wrap. And once I get the saran wrap, I'm going to put it over the top of the bowl, and then I'm going to put this bowl in the refrigerator. The saran wrap is just there to protect it so it doesn't dry out, etc. But I'm going to put this in the fridge because once it's cool, it's easier to work with. And while that dough batter is getting cold, I am going to turn on my deep fryer to 350, and I'm going to let that heat up while my dough is getting cold in the fridge. And vegetable oil is in the deep fryer. And here's my new donut cutter. I got this off of Amazon, and I will have a link to that in my Amazon store. And I'm just using my tabletop, and I have it floured because you always want the surface floured because this dough is quite sticky. So I'm just coating the outside of the dough with flour on my floured surface, which is my kitchen table. And I'm just going to make sure it's well covered with flour, and I'm going to flour my rolling pin. And I roll it out to about 1/4 inch thick, maybe a little less. And then I'm going to take my donut cutter and I tap it in the flour just to make sure the dough doesn't stick. And then I'm going to cut out my donuts, and of course you get the donut hole also. And I have a plate that I'm putting these donuts on, and then I just keep cutting until I run out of room to cut any more donuts out of the dough. And then once I get those all cut out, I'm going over to my deep fryer, and I'm setting the donuts right in the basket because this has a large basket, but you can also just drop them into the oil, but this way is less dangerous. Because dropping donuts in oil, it can splatter. So I'm just setting those in the basket. Then once I get those in the basket, I'm going to dunk it right in. And then these don't take long to fry up at all. And then I have a chopstick. Whenever you go to eat Chinese, always get some extra chopsticks because they come in handy. And I'm going to flip the donuts once they're golden brown, and then the other side will get golden brown, and then I just use my chopstick and I kind of stir them around a little bit too so they don't stick to each other. Once they finish cooking, I use that same chopstick to take them out of the hot oil, and I have a cake pan that's got some paper towel in it to the side of the fryer. And then I just grab the donuts through the middle with my chopstick to take them out and put them on that paper towel cake pan. And there's the donut holes. And these are kind of fun to make because they kind of bob around. And donut holes are really hard to turn, but they will turn if you just kind of dunk them with the chopstick. And then I'll remove those with a strainer ladle that I have, and then I put them right with the donuts. And now I'm going back, and that's my dough, my leftover dough, and I'm going to cut more donuts, and then I will fry them, and I will repeat this process until there is no more dough left. And these donuts freeze really well, and that's what I've been doing is I've been making them, and then I eat what I want, and then I freeze the rest, and then I always have donuts. And like I said, my mom used to make these. Of course, she used a different type of milk, but this is my version with the almond milk. When my dad would eat these donuts, he liked to sprinkle his with powdered sugar. But you never want to sprinkle them right away with powdered sugar because then it melts in the donut and the donut gets kind of gooey. So just if you want to put powdered sugar on them, just do it as you're eating them. And then my mom has also made like a glaze and, glaze the donuts. But our preferred way to eat these is dunking them in tea. And that's how I remember eating them. I remember Mom yelling up the stairs, it's tea time, the donuts are done. And then we'd all run downstairs and we'd eat tea and donuts. When the dough starts warming up, it gets a little harder to work with, but you can always put it back in the fridge for a little bit so it gets a little bit cooler to work with. And here is the pan that I've been using, and like I said, I just have paper towels in there, and then I just, because it's important to drain the donuts because you don't want them sitting in a pool of grease. And then my chopstick, you got to have those chopsticks. I have a whole drawer full of chopsticks. When you're over at the Mad Mommy blog, be sure to check out her blog posts. She has some funny blog posts, and she has some real informative blog posts. I've been really enjoying her blog. After the kids go to bed, I've been reading her blog, and she tells about real things. She doesn't, sugarcoat anything. It's all real. But there's the donuts in their little pan, and look how nice they look. They just look beautiful. I love making donuts. I will have links down below in the description for the Mad Mommy blog and to my Amazon store. And comment down below what your favorite childhood memory is. Of course, as you know, mine was donuts. So I'm just wondering what everybody else's favorite childhood memories are. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching. Bye.